Hello, you're watching Time Warner Cable's local edition, the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza, joined today by Senator Sam Aanestad. Always good to have you here.
It's always fun to be here.
You've got a lot on your plate, as always, and of course the big thing that everybody's talking about is the budget. The governor came out recently and gave his proposal. Not a lot of people very happy. What's your take on it?
Well, there's a lot to be unhappy about, but the one thing I'm happy about is there's no call for a tax increase. I think that's good news to the taxpayers of the state of California. But it is a budget that has about $12 billion worth of cuts in it, some anticipated revenues that may or may not be there from the federal government, and some borrowing and some smoke and mirrors. It's not going to get us out of this $19 billion deficit, but it's going to go a long way to helping solve the deficit problem that we do have.
The governor talked a lot about cutting social programs in some of these areas, and people said you just can't do it. It's just going to be more of a burden on the state. What's your assessment of that?
Well, I think this is round one, and what the governor proposed really was cutting into the meat of the majority party's social welfare system and saying, all right, you guys come back with what you think the solution, the real final solution should be. He didn't cut education, he didn't cut public safety or prisons, very little cuts in transportation. It was all the health and welfare system, and I think it was done with the anticipation that the majority party is now going to come back and say, you can't cut that deeply into those programs, so we've got to start looking at other programs. And the governor's going to let Darrell Steinberg and Speaker Perez be the bad guys if they have to go to the educational community and say, hey, we got to start cutting education.
I was about to say, this does sound like a strategic move. I will try to set the stage and I'll let you hang yourself, so to speak.
That's exactly where I think it is right now. So, you know, I'm not real excited. This is not the final budget proposal. We all know that. And I think now that it's out in the open, the Big Five will get together, start some honest negotiations, and I hope they do it as openly as possible so the public can react to what's going on. But I think this is just round one.
A lot of people have told me, you know, what's up in Sacramento? It takes lawmakers so long to pass a budget. We have a budget ourselves at our home. We have to pay our cars, things like that. Do you think we're going to meet the deadline this year, or do you think we're going to see a repeat of last year and trying to come up with something to balance a budget?
Well, you know, if your budget at home, if you had 120 different people giving you input as to what that budget should be, it would take longer than you think. We have a budget that's well over $100 billion. And we need to deliberate and set our priorities and come up with some decent answers for the people of California. Definitely we need to cut, and I love the governor's bottom line that we're not going to go for a fee or tax increase. The majority party leaders have also said that, so I think we're not talking about increased taxes. So we have to look at some real major cuts, and that's going to hurt some of the programs.
Let's talk about those cuts just briefly for the little time we have left here. Will these cuts prolong our economic recovery here in California? Because isn't this going to possibly put more people out of work?
I think the cuts that the governor's talking about right now a lot of the cuts are going to people who aren't working right now, and that's the problem with this budget as far as the majority party goes. The cuts are going to the social welfare system and the people who receive health care at the state's bequest, and not going to the working people out there. That's really what the problem is as far as the majority party says. And so we'll just see where this all settles out in the next few weeks.
All right. I guess this sets the stage. I guess if you have an opinion or a suggestion, you know where to find your lawmakers. You know, easy to find on the internet, and pick up the phone or type you a quick note. Senator Sam Aanestad, always a pleasure to have you here, as well as you at home. This has been Time Warner Cable's local edition, the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza. Make it a good day.
What's that? Did she just say there's an accident on the 605?
Oh, it's Beat the Traffic. I turn it on every morning.
Take control of your commute with Beat the Traffic exclusively on Time Warner Cable, Channel 101. Get up-to-the-minute traffic information with real-time 3D maps, live updates.
Traffic is looking clear on the southbound side. Nothing new on the 91 either east.
Trip times and alternate routes. On TV, on the web, on the go, and only on Time Warner Cable.